context of development. Development is originated by individuals' internal forces like the genetics, maturation, and personal choices. And the development is influenced by forces outside the individual. It can be physical surroundings and the social interactions. And these interactions and surroundings provides incentives, opportunities, and pathways for growth. Before going to the details, please remember to subscribe the channel. Thank you. Let's see what are the contexts. First one is social context. It includes family, peer group, social setting, your neighborhood group, then religious setting and mass media. It is very important throughout the childhood because it has the greatest influence to the child. It greatly influences because it includes the family, peer group, all those things that are closely surrounded. Then comes the historical context. In every era, prevailing assumptions, critical public events, the current technologies and popular trends shape the lives and thoughts of individuals living in that time period. You can see even the changes in the dressing style, the thinking or the behavior, everything changes in different time period. The cohort develops same ideologies based on being raised in a particular historic era. Cohorts are people who are living in a particular time period. They share similar ideologies. Then comes cultural context. This provides direction and meaning to a person's development path. Culture means a set of values, assumptions, customs, and objects. The cultural context provides the guideline for the way of living. Then comes the ethnic context. Ethnic group are group of people who share certain attitude such as the ancestry, the national origin, the religion, language, and as a result they tend to identify with each other and have similar lives. Then comes socio-economic context. It is measured through a combination of several variables. It includes the income, the education, the residence and occupation. The family income can limit opportunities and heighten the pressure that conspires to make growing up much more difficult. So these are the context: social context, historical context, cultural context, ethnic context, and the socio-economic context. We have seen various contexts that has relationship with the individual's development. The contextual perspective examines the socio-cultural and environmental influences on development. Lev Vygotsky. He was a Russian psychologist who is best known for his socio-cultural theory. He believed that the social interaction plays a critical role in children's learning. Through such social interactions, children go through a continuous process of learning. So, according to the Lev Vygotsky, the children learn through social interactions. The children go through continuous process of learning through the social interaction. According to him, children can develop cognitively in their understanding of the world and learn what is important in society through the play and cooperation with others. So through the play and cooperation with others, the children develop their cognitive capacity and they have a better understanding of the world. Vygotsky's idea of socio-cultural learning includes mainly three things. First one is human development and learning originate in social, historical and cultural interactions. So through this interaction, the human development and learning originates. Then the use of psychological tools, particularly language. It mediates the development of higher mental functions. So language plays an important role in development. Then learning occurs within the zone of proximal development. So these three are Lev Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory. He focused on learning through social interaction. And through that, an individual development happens. The ecological systems theory, developed by Yuri Bronfenbrenner. He developed this ecological systems theory to explain how everything in a child and the child's environment affects and how the child grows and develops. He divided the person's environment into 5 different levels. They are the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, the macrosystem, and the chronosystem. We will see each of the system in details. This is the diagrammatic representation of the ecological systems theory developed by Yuri Bronfenbrenner. According to the theory, we have seen that 5 systems are there, 5 levels of system that interact with the child. First one is the microsystem. It is the system closest to the person and it is the one which have direct contact. The examples would be home, school, neighborhood, daycare, work, etc. A microsystem typically includes family, peers, or caregivers. The relationship in a microsystem are bidirectional. It means your reactions to the people in the microsystem will affect how they treat you in return. So, the relationship are bidirectional. This is the most influential level of the ecological system theory. Then comes the mesosystem. It consists of the interaction between different parts of the microsystem. So we have seen that the closest system is microsystem and in mesosystem there will be interaction of microsystems. So this microsystem interact with each other to form the mesosystem. It is a system where a person's individual microsystem do not function independently but are interconnected and influence each other. These interactions have indirect impact on the individual. So the interaction between the microsystem is known as the mesosystem and it have an indirect influence on the individual. One aspect of mesosystem would be the relationship between the parents and his teacher. It has a positive impact on your development because the different elements of your microsystem are working together. The example is like your parent interact with your teacher, and it will have a indirect influence on your development. Your development could be affected in a negative way if the different elements of the microsystem were working against each other. If they are in good relation, then you will have a positive influence, and if they are working against each other, then it will have a negative impact on your development. Then comes the exosystem. It refers to the setting that does not involve the person as an active participant. You won't be any active participant, but this system affects you. This includes decisions that have bearing on the person, but in which they have no participation in the decision-making process. The exosystem influences the child indirectly, as it trickles down through other individuals that have an influence on the child's life. Consider the example. If your parent got a promotion or if they lost their job, then what happens is like it has nothing to do with you indirect. It doesn't come under your decision making. But it happened to your parent, and the parent have an influence on you. So indirectly, this will influence your development. And this exosystem can be temporary, like the parent being laid off from the job. It can be long term. This exosystem can be long term, like the death of a family member or something like that. So this one, you don't have any direct participation, but it will influence you through the parents or other person who are in direct contact with you or who have influence to you. Then comes the macro system. It is a larger cultural context. It includes the economic and political system, the dominant beliefs and ideologies. It is the culture that the child lives in. The beliefs, the customs, the government are all part of the macro system. So it is the larger cultural context. Then comes the chrono system. It is a dimension of time. It is made up of the environmental events and transitions over the life course. An example can be a child's parents divorcing when the child is 3 years old. So it has an effect on the child's development. And it includes any socio-historical events also, like the World War II, the Depression. All these things comes under the chrono system. That is the changing personal and societal conditions over the life course. So as the time goes, the societal conditions or the personal relations, that changes, and it will influence the development of the child. So these are the 5 systems that influence the development of the child. This is the ecological system theory, and it is developed by Yuri Bronfenbrenner. In 1977, Durganand Sinha presented an ecological model for understanding the development of children in Indian context. The ecology of the child could be viewed in terms of 2 concentric layers. The upper layer, which is most visible, and the surrounding layers. The most important ecological factors influencing the development of the child in the visible upper layer constitute of home. Its condition in terms of overcrowding, the space available to each member, the toys, the technological devices used, etc. Then the nature and quality of the schooling, facilities to which the child is exposed, and nature of interactions and activities undertaken with peer groups from childhood onwards. So this comes under the upper visible layer. Then the elements of the surrounding layer of ecology, it consists of the general geographical environment. It includes the space and facilities for play and other activities available outside the home, including general congestion of the locality and density of the population. Then institutional setting provided by the caste, class and other factors, and general amenities. It is available to the child like drinking water, electricity, means of entertainment and so on. Both these layers, this upper visible layer and the surrounding layer, they interact with one another. And it may have different consequences in different people for development. The ecological environment can change at any point of time in a person's life. By studying the experiences, we can understand the difference in the function of a person. So, this is the ecological model by Durganand Sinha, and it has two layers, upper visible layer and the surrounding layer, and these two layers will interact with each other and it influences the development of the child. Now let's have a quick recap on what we have learned. We have learned the context of development. Various contexts are the social context, historical context, cultural context, ethnic context, and socio-economic context. Then we have learned the socio-cultural theory by Leif Vygotsky. Then the ecological systems theory by Yuri Bronfenbrenner and the ecological model by Durganand Sinha. Hope you like this video. Please subscribe and share. Thank you and keep smiling.